to close the conference and really bring all that we spoke about. Everything from generative AI to security to Omniverse, and bring it all together and connect the dots. And I truly believe that we are in such a great place, because we are the technology leaders. We are the business leaders who can truly create an impact, not only on our business, not what we are creating, but also on humanity. When I got a chance to discuss the topic with Anupam, I was really excited. And I was excited because this talk is really about having a real conversation, having a conversation from your heart, and really figuring out how we, as the leaders, are going to stand for doing things right. So I really think that the next 20, 25, 30 minutes we're going to spend together, we're really going to dig deep into everything you know, but bringing consciousness to the fundamental of what we do every day. So before I get started, I have to say my friend Bharat Amin reminded me May is the month of Asian Heritage Month, so I want to wish everyone a happy Asian Heritage Month. And I hope we take these moments to celebrate. I think a lot of times we are so busy in our day-to-day life, we forget to celebrate, days, months, and what we do. And our employees, our teams, people who really cheer for us, work for us. So as I get started, I want to first talk a little bit about my background. I've spent 30 decades in data management, data analytics. I've built companies. I'm a tech entrepreneur. My first company was a data management consulting firm, e-commerce company, and then healthcare software company. I teach at Columbia University. I teach entrepreneurship, strategy, and consulting. And recently wrote a book on AI called The AI Factor. Actually, I started during pandemic, and it came out at the kind of right time. And I was speaking at a conference about the book, and everybody was calling out. They said, I have to call out my boss, my team, my company. And I said, I have to call out Sam Altman because he positioned ChatGPT very properly around my book release. So my book was on bestseller because I think I had some stars aligned. So I'm going to talk about November 30th, 2022. It was a big day because within 5 days, what did we hear? Everybody was talking about ChatGPT. It was a big thing. Listen, all of us know, we were working with data, we were working with analytics, we've been talking about and doing machine learning, but in the world, as somebody earlier said, it was really bringing AI in the fingertips of everyone, from students, from children, to professors and writers and animation agencies, Everybody was working with AI like they never thought they would. We never thought we would make that so easily available. So suddenly, of course, the question was, is AI for good? Is AI for bad? So it was on every news media. Every channel was talking about it. We're still talking about it because people are fascinated by, listen, the technology you and I worked with from the very beginning. There are tons of businesses that are popping up because of ChatGPT. So there are tons of opportunity. But remember, this is not new. This is not something new. In 1950s, Dartmouth had its own AI, which they actually coined the term artificial intelligence in 1950s. So the evolution has been going. We have the generation, the conversation, the technology available since 1950s. But it suddenly became so powerful now. Remember, technology, the purpose of technology is to meet human needs. And this is not the first time we're using technology to really make our life easier. We talk about how do we do digital transformation and move the organization towards use technology for power. But remember, remember those days when we built our application and the applications went on the shelf because people didn't use it, right? And now we are at that power place that technology can be in the conversation about growth. Technology can be in the conversation about strategy. We've used technology, we have humans been fascinated by technology from the very beginning. And humans have, from when we had fire to electric bulb, the whole evolution, we've been talking about how amazing technology can be when it's used properly. But I have to tell you, artificial intelligence, in fiction, do you remember the movies? In 1960s, we had 2001 Space Odyssey, where the robot had its own mind. We had the movie AI in 2001, where a boy, robot boy, the child loved his mother. And this was a robot, had feelings. I love the movie Her because it was so interesting when the protagonist here fell in love with the operating system. And the punchline was, at the end of the movie, if you remember, he says to her, the operating system, so he calls her her, and he says to her, I can't believe, she takes a minute to answer, and he says, I can't believe you're cheating on me. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, are you talking to somebody else? And she says, yeah, I'm talking to 10 million people right now. So she's processing the data, and he actually gets emotionally engaged with her. So it's a fascination for technology, it's fascination for AI. We've had that from a while. And listen, when I say it's fiction or reality, we enjoyed AI in fiction. We enjoyed AI and reality and imagination. And so why we're talking about it now? We've been using it forever. And really, if you think about it, in 1950s and 60s, why did AI didn't become so popular? We had mainframe, the computational power. We then moved to client server. Web 1.0 came, where it was decentralized, right? We all were having our web pages, and we had our just separate, everybody was on the web, but had their own websites. Web 2 was more when Google's and Facebook came and consolidated the data, centralized. They centralized the information. And that created the big data movement. We had IoT, smart devices, and Web 3 is all about now decentralization again. So we went from decentralized, centralized, decentralized. And you'll see those curves in your companies. You'll see that's what happens as we go through the flow. But what did that do? That helped the AI become powerful. So when we talk about data, and I'm going to spend a little time on data, data is the foundation of what we're creating these models on. And so it becomes really important that we focus on the data. It's the data management, it's the different elements of data. I have to talk about pandemic, because that was the time when it was time for all of us to reflect. And I'll tell you a quick story about myself. I remember, during the pandemic, I was kind of restless. I was thinking about, what am I doing? What's the meaning of life? I had all this news about people around me that they were sick or somebody I knew passing away. And I really, truly thought about life. I thought about what my purpose is. And I was writing my book at that time. No idea about generative AI is going to come, when it's going to come. I started writing my book because I said, I don't know what's going to happen, and I will encourage all of you, because I think everybody has a book in them. And I felt like I've spent 30 years of my career. I need to pay back. So I took all that knowledge and I said, I'm going to share all that worked for me in my work. Listen, I spend more time at work than I spend at home. I built this amazing career. I needed to pay back. So I just started the book with no intention. I said, I don't know what will happen, but I'm going to write the book. I'm going to call it the AI Factor, how businesses can use artificial intelligence to grow their businesses. And I started writing stories. The businesses, how they've done. Anyway, so as I'm speaking and I'm writing, I realized the metrics comes in front of me. It says 18% of women are in AI. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's a data point, but listen, I was the only woman in the room. I've learned to be the only woman in the room in technology world, so I'll deal with it. And then I meet a friend of mine for lunch, and she says, Asha, I was the president of the First Women's Bank. I was the highest paid woman in chemical bank. I reported to David Rockefeller, and I had to go home to my husband to get his signature to open my bank account. This is 1973, where the women didn't have the power to be able to open their account without the signature of their husband. So now think about that. It was really powerful. I came home and I was like, oh my God, I'm writing a book on AI and I'm saying, we're collecting all this data. Where's the diversity in the data? And women are not going to be sitting on the table as we design this world. So my journey of compassion started from there. I launched an organization, a global leadership organization where I bring the leaders together to talk about diversity and how we create equity as we build our digital world. So think about AI. Why is data and diversity important, and why it is so important for humanity? We know that when we work with artificial intelligence, we're working with machine learning, and that's where we are, deep learning. But really think about the three types of AI we are going to be engaging with. We have the artificial intelligence, we have the ANI, the narrow intelligence, which is all about the machine learning. That's where we have been sitting. You know, the Siri, the Alexa, that's narrow intelligence. There is a debate whether generative AI, whether ChatGPT is AGI or not. Some people say it's ANI, some people say it's generative AI. And why people debate about generative AI? They say that ChatGPT is on the borderline of AGI because it is intelligent to understand, learn, and give you results. And the third part, which is the major discussion, is artificial superintelligence. That's where, when you hear all this debate and the worry, when Elon Musk is saying, stop all the development, and you have all these people concerned about, that's what they're talking about when the computer starts learning by itself, when they become powerful. So where do we stand today? Today we stand that we are at the world talking about ChatGPT. Everybody's talking about it. Organizations, you know, I get invited to these think tanks. All the large organizations are talking about how can we use generative AI in our workforce. How do we really bring it together? AI open their gates for commercial use. They said we'll give you firewalls and we'll give you, so they are working towards making it available to big corporations. There are tons of applications that popped up. So the good news is there's a lot of opportunities, lots of opportunities. They say that about $443 billion will be spent in the next 3 years on AI. Listen, Microsoft invested $10 billion in OpenAI. Google came immediately right after AI, and there is a war. Who's going to win? Everybody's talking about it. Elon Musk launched another company too. So, is it? And which countries are developing? Right? It's about China or US. Who's investing more in AI? So even not only organizations but countries are investing in it. So it's an important topic, important investment for all organizations. You know, I said, let's look at the history. What has history taught us? You know, if you talk about innovation, we hear about Kodak, and we talk about companies who have been successful as they innovate, as they embrace technology the right way. Listen, I love when I teach at Columbia, I love the Netflix business case because I think it's such a great case. It talks about when Netflix came in, when no one really thought that we would rent DVDs online. We enjoyed going on Friday night to Blockbuster, getting our VHS and making a Friday evening, a movie night. But then comes Netflix, breaks the business model. They then make their own business model because they say, now we have the data, we're going to do streaming. Then they break their own business model again, and they say we're going to create original content. So what they're doing is they're breaking their own business models to create new business model. So think about it, how much time are you spending within your organization to create new business models or focus on using technology the right way? I love Marriott and Airbnb story. Airbnb owns no real estate. And it's competing with Marriott. It has more market share. Listen, listen, Domino's is a great, great case study too. They collected the data, understood their consumers. Do you truly understand what your customer wants? Do you truly understand, are you serving your customer the right way? So listen, Bill Gates wrote that page, in March, wrote a page on his blog. He talks about this is the age of AI. He said, graphical user interface was something revolutionary, and now it's going to be AI. Mark Cuban said AI will dominate the future of workplace. I love Sundar Pichai says AI is one of the most important things humanity is working on. And Andrew Ng says it's difficult to think a major industry that AI will not transform. This is another really great case study, which I love in healthcare. I think AI is going to be transformational for all industries. The question is how we use it. In nursing home, I was at our Harvard lab and they had this robot and they were showing us this video. So the robot is like talking to an older woman and she doesn't want to work out. So she's sick and she doesn't want to do her PT. And the robot comes over and he says, you should get up and time for your workout. And she looks at the robot and rolls her eyes and turns her face and he says, what? Because I'm a robot, you're not going to give me any respect? And so she just smiles and laughs. And he's like, come on, I'm just a robot, but I can help be your friend. And so he jokes around with her and gets her up and makes her working. Think about how lonely our aging population is. To have the technology to help them feel, and they say, in 5 years, this is going to be, AI has a power to solve a lot of mental health issues and challenges. The public health could be improved by using AI effectively. From self-care, prevention, right? Personalization, AI can do the personalization, to diagnosis, to care delivery. It has a huge power to really create an impact in healthcare. I love the education. I think, imagine, you don't have to really worry about whether your kid is interested in this subject that she's taking, but the AI should be able to direct you and take you to where you really should be. Khan Academies, you probably saw, he's been announcing and talking about partnering with OpenAI, and he launched Khan Migo. It's an AI tutor. So AI truly has the power to create better quality of life. Listen, I will say to you that you have to have caution, and we'll talk about that. But I'll say if you are thinking about launching your initiatives around AI, it's not just your sitting in the test lab where you're just testing AI initiatives. You want to bring it to the mainstream. I'll just share quick tips on the book I wrote, and I spoke about 4-step process. Assess your business, data readiness, prioritize, and measure. So really, if you think about it, you can use a framework to launch your initiative. Really understand where your business is. Where do you stand in the quadrant? Are you an optimizer? You want to optimize effectively. Can you be an innovator? You're a multiplier. You want to break your own business model? Or you say, I just want to extend. Get market share. Really know where you are. And then comes the data readiness. Really important that you understand what your objectives are. You understand your data management. Understand the engagement. Are you engaging? And then are you building something for scale? Scalability, adaptability, and repeatability. I talk about really being in the power zone. Understand the problem you're solving, and does it give you value? Value is number one. What is the value, and prioritize. Understand where and what data you're looking for, what the quality of the data is. And then I created this equation, and this is a little research I've worked on, was what is your data value indicator telling you? Really focus on what is your business value indicator telling you? And then come up to where the power is as you build your equation. Really focus on your data performance index, because if you have that, then you can create the implementation and really think about the AI flywheel. Because truly when you're implementing AI, it's really about thinking about, is my flywheel working? Is the accuracy right? Can I feed the right data? Do I have the diversity of the data, the quality of data to feed the flywheel? But we all have to be cautious. When we are building and launching AI, you hear this all over. You know, somebody, an engineer from Google is talking about be cautious. Elon Musk is talking about being cautious. Everybody's talking about caution. Why? Because we've seen the example. When Microsoft launched Day in 2016, there was a problem. The chatbot converted into being a hateful 19-year-old girl, and within 72 hours, they had to turn it down. We had Amazon. They had to kill the AI recruitment engine because they were not, rightfully so, they were hiring the female engineers because AI was rejecting the female engineers. So the biases are there. What we need to really focus on is, are we ethically and legally thinking about the framework we are using to apply? You have the power, as leaders, you have the power to implement the right practices. Do we have to wait for regulations? Can you create a framework that would work for you and your organization? Think about the biases when you talk about racism. It's really about the people's bias. If you don't have a diverse team, if you don't have diversity of thoughts, if you don't have someone who knocks on your door and says, you know what, we don't have enough data, we don't have the right people, and you don't talk about really opening the door to different thinking, that would be a challenge. Can we develop empathy and ethics? 60 Minutes had this great coverage, I'm sure you guys got a chance to see it, and he said, AI will be as good or as evil as human nature allows. The revolution is coming faster. It's how we engage with the AI. You know, somebody said, I was talking, it's like, when you're talking to AI, say please and thank you, because you're training the AI models. So think about the principle of responsible AI: fairness, transparency, privacy, reliability, inclusiveness, and accountability. It is the journey of human and AI to coexist. AI cannot live alone. It's really about how humans will interact. I'm happy to have any conversations you want to have. LinkedIn is the best way to get in touch with me. And I want to, first of all, thank you all for taking the initiative to learn. Come to an organization or come to an event like this where you are really truly learning, thinking about moving forward. And I wish you all an amazing time building the technology you're building with ethical and responsible, and be an amazing leader as you go in the world. Thank you so much.